Hello, my name is Amy Sturkey. I am a pediatric physical therapist, and I am here with a dear friend of mine. This is Chris Wilson. And Chris is somebody I treated when I was a younger therapist, and I'm here with his parents. This is Terry and Chip. And we're just talking about what it was like to have Chris, and I just think the way they think about Chris is just really beautiful, and I wanted to share it. Chris doesn't talk. He doesn't have a really strong communication system, other than not being able to say anything. He lets you know exactly what he wants.
Yes.
Other than that, but he can't tell you how his day went, per se, in detail. I mean, I bet you know when he comes in the door how his day went, but if something bad happened, or if someone hurt his feelings, or if something worse happened, he can't tell you specifically. Do you worry about him during the day? Because some people who have significant involvement are not treated well.
Yeah. I think because we have had situations where Christopher has been so well loved, and we have had situations where the people that are with him adore him, and so that has made us feel very safe. And again, not everybody has that, but we found one of his someone who's actually worked with him since he was maybe 4 years old, and she has consistently worked with him since. And she really regards him
You are so
as
lucky.
as his part of her family, and her husband regards him as part of the family. Her adult children have always looked at him as their little brother. She is, is a little, and that makes a big difference. Also, the school he went to, it's a special needs school. And we had looked at a more inclusive environment and started him there.
We started him there, yeah.
But especially after the leukemia treatment, we were much more protective of wanting to make sure he had a school nurse who would be, present. And
at the mainstream school, I was worried because he was still getting chemo. That teacher would tend to send him home if he had a loose bowel movement, and I thought if the special needs school could handle illness or nausea better than the mainstream school. That was kind of the practical concern, at least for the early years, and we decided to keep him there at the special needs school, which has been a good choice.
Yeah, the bus picked him up here at the house every morning, and his first bus driver also turned out to be someone who worked with him, and she was a recreational therapist when she lived up in New York, and so she was an aide in the school. His bus driver. I mean, we had a sense of he had advocates everywhere he went. That people that would look out for him, that would make sure he was not just safe, but also he was challenged. Like we saw her at church one time years later, and he had his hands in his mouth, and she's like, "Christopher," and right away. Hands out of the mouth. You're talking about Amy. Yeah, you're talking about Kathy.
So why do you think kids like Chris are here? The kids especially kids who are more significantly challenged, differently able. What do you think?
I guess I have to look at it through I'll have to say, religious lens. I'm a Christian. I'm an ordained clergy person in the Catholic Church as a deacon. And Christianity was started not by a victor, but we celebrate brokenness and a certain level of defeat. And so suffering is just a part of life, and it's part of humanity. So I think there is this... And ideally, in real Christianity, not the version that we necessarily see in America, there is a celebration of weakness. The Christian scriptures talk about perfection and weakness. And I'm not trying to get preachy here, but that's what affected my worldview about that salvation came to us through the broken Jesus Christ, and that's kind of my framework for it. Other people may have other frameworks, and there may be other traditions that teach the same thing, but that's my worldview.
And for me, I think I had to come to grips with why I was so distressed in the early years. I mean, for me, there's a making of meaning of what is the meaning of not just, meaning of my sadness, the meaning of Christopher's presence here is, and it was getting into some awareness that our culture does not. We value independence and self-sufficiency, and that people with, especially, like significant special needs, they remind us that we are not independent, that we are not self-sufficient, that we are all needy. And there's a real kind of contempt for neediness in our world. And I think that if I was going to say what's the meaning, that Christopher is a reminder of it's not about what you produce. A lot of people produce all kinds of things, but they don't produce joy. And Christopher produces more joy, not by any effort, but because he is present to the moment. And so I found that he was my teacher in many ways about meaning and about kind of purpose in life. And that by paying attention to him, that I think that was probably what finally helped me out of my sadness, is like, you know what, I have things to learn. I love the kind of world of the mind, the abstract, the conceptual, that's meaningful to me. It's where I get a lot of joy. And that Christopher was someone who kind of put me in touch with the moment and with a sense of mindfulness that this is, by being present to this moment with this child, in this reality, that there is something deeply meaningful and enlivening. And that Christopher doesn't worry about the things that I do, and he is all the better for it. And it doesn't, they're all things that I didn't really need to worry about.
I think because I work with kids on a lot of different levels, and I just think the most important thing we do here is give and receive love. And I think we get really confused that it's how much money you make, or what school you graduated from, or what house you live in, or what car you drive. And those things in the end, I don't think are important at all. I think the most important thing we do here is give and receive love. And I think that Chris is a guru in that.
Yes.
I think he helps bring us back to what are the most important things.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I think that they are, like you said, teachers, that you realize what are the most important things, and it's not all that other stuff, because I think it's real easy to get wrapped up in all that other stuff.
Yeah.
This has been, I'm having such a great time talking to y'all.
Good.
I like the way y'all think about things, and I love Chris.
Well, and Chris really has been our teacher. I mean,
Yes, he has been.
I think there's ways that some of his milestones were much later. It was only after we moved into this house. And I think because we had a lot of stairs in this house, it actually helped him to finally walk, because he needed the challenge. And we found that he would meet the challenges. I mean, that was one of the things in terms of things that he would do. He doesn't do a lot of things not because he can't, but because what's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point?
Give me a reason.
Yeah. Right. But then there he goes. He will say things and then and kind of surprise us at moments where he will, at a playground, he said to the person who was with him, she was pushing him on the swing, and he said, "I swing high." And
really?
That was like, okay, Chris. When he's not getting what he needs, he finds a way to get it.
Uh-huh.
And he's been known at school to come out with complete sentences, and the whole teacher's running, what happened? Can you do it again? But he won't or can't or whatever. So that's the speech is a big mystery part of that. We don't know exactly why that's not there, because he's been evaluated by the best. And
yeah. And speech, that is probably the big thing of do we have, if he could tell us what he thought, I don't miss it. I don't kind of wonder, at what he's thinking, because there's a way that I can feel it. Like maybe words are not as necessary. Words often divide. They don't always connect. And Chris's way of being connects.
I love that. Well, I'm really loving talking to y'all.
Thank you.
Why don't we continue this on the next video?
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. If you liked this video and would like to be notified by email when the next video comes out, click the subscribe button here and click the golden bell icon and ensure notifications are enabled on your account.